Okay, a race car traveling at 44 meters per second is uniformly or with a constant acceleration to a velocity of 22 meters per second over a 115 second time interval. What is its displacement during this time? Okay, so we have a race car with an initial velocity of 44 meters per second. We have a final velocity of 22 meters per second. We can already tell that it's slowing down. So since we start off with a positive velocity and we end up with less of it, that means our acceleration is going to be negative. So our acceleration will be something negative, okay? And our time is 115 seconds? 115 seconds, okay. So we looked at our equation before. Delta V is equal to acceleration divided by, multiplied by time. But if we rearrange this, we can see that delta V over delta T is just our acceleration. So I want to figure out what our acceleration is, okay? That'll help with everything else. And we've already said a couple times that delta V is just our final velocity minus our initial velocity divided by our time. Okay. So 22 minus 44 divided by 115 seconds. Okay, and that gives us 22 minus 44 divided by 115, or negative 191. 191 meters per second squared. That is our acceleration. Okay, let's go ahead and write that up. We expected it to be negative, and it turned out to be negative. So 0.191 meters per second squared. Okay? And now, if we go back to that equation we used a second ago, because we're trying to figure out how far it goes. All right? And as a result, we need our delta x equation, which is our initial velocity multiplied by our time, plus 1/2 our acceleration, and I put that parentheses there because it's going to be negative, multiplied by our time squared. And I think we know enough to use this equation, so let's go ahead and type it in. Our first velocity is 44 times 115, initial velocity times our time in seconds, multiplied by 1/2. Our acceleration is negative 0.191, multiplied by our 115 seconds squared. So that leaves us with only one unknown, and we can go ahead and write this up. So I'm gonna calculate this value first, and then add it to that value. Times 115 times 115. So this right here is equal to negative 1265. And this value, 44 times 115, is 5,060. So 5,060 plus a negative 1265 gives us 3795 meters. So while that race car was slowing down from 44 meters per second to 22 meters per second over just under 2 minutes, it would have traveled 3,795 meters. That's quite a long way.